We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order with the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First, we'll start with the roll call. Brian Patterson.
Yep.
Dean McQueen.
Here.
Mary Strong.
Here.
Jeff Cook, I'm here. Bob Evans.
Here.
Carol Lanning. Glenn Bischoff.
Yeah.
We have a quorum. Next, we'll move on to old business. The approval of the February 27th, 2024 meeting minutes. Are there any additions or corrections? The floor is open for a motion to approve.
Motion.
Glenn Bischoff makes a motion to approve the minutes from February 27th, 2024. Do I have a second?
Second.
Carol Lanning seconds. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next is the request for an additional appropriation for the public library. Resolution 2024-11. Additional appropriation ordinance 2024-11, where it has been determined it is now necessary to appropriate more money than was originally appropriated in the annual budget. Now, therefore, Section 1 be it ordained by Franklin County Council of Franklin County Public Library District of Franklin County that for the expenses of the taxing unit, the following additional sums of money are hereby appropriated out of the funds named and for the purposes specified subject to laws governing the same. Fund name operating fund, capital outlays $500,000 for a total out of operating fund $500,000. John Palmer.
Hang on a second. I'm close enough. This is not, hang on a second. There we go. Turn green. Can you, is it working?
Doesn't sound like it.
It's flashing. I think the batteries must be bad. Carla, he has temporarily solved the problem. But this is working out too. Hold on to that one.
Got it.
Yeah. So anyway, as you read, Jeff, we are requesting that you approve us taking $500,000 out of the money that we have set aside so that we can do, basically move our history department and open up that space for use for some of the other programs that are growing. As I told the board, and I've talked to Susan about it, sometimes you're a victim of your own success. So, after the pandemic settled down, we seem to have more and more visits, and we're trying to build more and more programs to serve the community. We're getting more and more requests for those kind of services. And so we're taking a look at what we can do, and the history department right now is downstairs in the old part, and we'd like to move that and then use that space for the other programs as well. So that's why we're asking for the money. And it's no extra tax money. Just make that clear. You read that, but just to make it clear for the public, there's no extra tax money. It's money that we have guarded since we've been collecting over the last few years. And so we have enough to do what we need to do. So, any questions from any, Brian?
It's nice to see that we're setting on quite an estimate, and it's nice to see you use it. That's good.
Yeah. So, Mary?
What kind of programs?
I'm sorry?
Do you know what kind of programs you're doing yet or have anything planned?
Not details, but more things to draw and serve the younger population at this point is what I'm thinking. We have one for the very small kids in the new park, if you've been over there. in that new addition we built a few years ago. I don't know if you might want to address what they might want to do.
There are all kinds of ideas being kicked around, from a maker space. Ideas being kicked around include maker space, some virtual reality, technology programming. We also could use additional office space. There are all kinds of possibilities.
John, is this money going to be used to build an addition, or are you just restructuring what you currently have?
We're going to have to do some kind of addition, and that's kind of being debated right now, and have to look at engineering and things like that, where we might want to move that spot to. So we have general plans, but we don't want to talk about it publicly now because there's nothing definitely set in stone. So, but the idea would be to move it.
So is this money going to fully fund the project, or is this just to get started?
No, this money should fully fund the project. From the estimates we have so far, it should be okay. So, and if we did need more, we have plenty, but I don't think we're going to need it. So. Any questions from you guys? No? So, well, this is one case where we're doing something really good for the community, and something we need to keep doing. So, and we have other projects for the future. So if there's no other questions, Jeff, I'll let you ask for a motion.
Okay. Any other discussion? Whoops. Any other discussion?
I'll make a motion to approve additional appropriation resolution ordinance 2024-9.
Brian Patterson has made a motion to approve resolution 2024-11. Do I have a second?
Second.
Bob Evans seconds. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
And Carl, I guess you'll get the signatures.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, I'll get it to you.
Okay, great.
Okay, next is Dr. Welsh, the change of positions.
Thank you, sir, and thank you for letting me speak to you this evening. Just to bring you quickly up to speed, the health board is reconstituted. They've met, and we had some job descriptions clarified and a couple changes which were graciously approved by the commissioners. Previously, we had a public health nurse and we had a nurse supervisor. With the changes of the state requirements of the KPIs, there was another extra position at the schools for the school nurse liaison. The state has asked that to be within the county health department. So the idea was the nurse supervisor role has been vacated since July. The idea was we've been having trouble getting things filled, so we put together a second public health nurse position, and their duties would also include the activities with the schools for the school nurse liaison. And what I'm asking for is to transfer funds that would have been for the nurse supervisor for this new public health nurse school liaison position. Now, you may have seen from the commissioners that we also put a job description for an administrator. We're not asking for that to be funded at this time. I'll be back before you to talk about 2025. Right now, we're interested in trying to fill the vacant spots, a second public health nurse, and we've got 2 part-time positions that have been vacant we're wanting to fill. Those have more priority. The ask for the public health nurse school liaison would be at I think we got paperwork there of just over $48,000. And because that nurse will be working closely with our second public health nurse, who's been doing a great job, would ask to increase the second public health nurse's compensation to be comparable. That would be an additional $32.28. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay, I guess it's just catch me up. So the supervisor nurse which will be a new title of nurse school liaison,
Yes, sir.
right? Okay, so that position, the total would be 48,572.
Yes, sir.
Correct, okay. And then the staff nurse, that total would be 45,000?
No,
No.
that's what it is now.
Okay, so it'd be plus, that amount plus $3,228.
Yes, sir.
So what you're asking for is an additional of $3,228 to be applied to the staff nurse.
Yes, sir.
Nurse's salary.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The long-term goal is to have an administrator, but we're not asking for this year. Right now, we're just trying to make sure we meet the basic needs for the county.
Okay.
What was the previous salary of the staff or the supervisor nurse?
I believe that was the 48,000. And when we tried to fill nursing positions before, we had a few applicants, but the pay was always the barrier. And that's why we're seeking to, at this higher level.
So what is the school liaison nurse going to do?
That position is to actively reach out to all the schools in the county to help them with projects, public health related in the schools. It might be helping with an immunization clinic, it might be with education, it might be all sorts of outreach opportunities. We've actually had a couple of things that we've been talking about within the department. One example is to provide some of our less advantaged citizens with some helpful hygiene kits. I know that's an issue at some of our schools. Just this is one example.
So is this going to be a LPN, registered nurse?
Registered nurse. Yes, sir.
So again, just to clarify that you're just wanting the salary for the staff nurse and the supervisor nurse to be equal.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so
It's actually,
right now,
it will no longer be a supervisory nurse. We're moving to just a second public health nurse with school liaison responsibilities.
Okay. Gotcha, okay.
And then I'll be back before you when we get closer to 2025 to discuss about the administrator position. But again, we want to fill the vacancies first.
So you'll be back at budget hearings to
Yes,
discuss
sir.
that? Okay.
And in fact, I've got plans to meet with our auditor to get a little better educated about the budget process. And also wanted to let this council know that the state is going to be wanting us to kind of give some framework of how we're going to be spending the Health First Indiana funds for 2025 by June. So I'll be looking forward to further conversations with this group.
When do you actually receive it? 2025?
I'm sorry, sir?
When do you actually receive the SB4 money? Is that,
I believe if it's the same as this year, it was January of that year.
so you've already received your first batch?
I would defer to the auditor as to what we have and haven't received.
Any other questions?
Make a motion to approve the additional request from the health department.
Brian Patterson has made a motion to approve the additional of $3,228 for the health department.
And, let me clarify that, and change the job title.
Okay.
That's what we need to do.
And change the job title from supervisor nurse to nurse/school liaison. Do I have a second?
Awesome.
Carol Henning seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
That'll be approved next month. Yeah.
Next is the 911 Director, Commissioners, and Barry Ritter.
I think Barry's on Zoom, Jeff.
Okay.
I think we're coming to ask for you for a 911 director's position because EK's has resigned from that. And we need to put the search out for a professional 911 director to keep our county running smoothly and safely.
So salary-wise, what was the Commissioners thinking?
It looks like on the back, what Barry Ritter has looked at, probably somewhere between 50 and 60 grand.
Do we have any documentation on this?
They didn't have copies.
I shared a salary survey with the sheriff and with commissioners of data that was taken from the 2023-24 statewide salary analysis and provided, I think there's eight or 10 counties on there that are comparable in population, number of constables, number of employees, and those salaries range from Franklin County at $38,480, and the top salary is White County at $67,324. And I have that spreadsheet that I'm more willing to share with council as well.
Could you give us just an overview of what the 911 Director, what the responsibilities would be?
Sure. Matter of fact, I did send to commissioners for their consideration a draft job description for the center. In most centers, the 911 director obviously is responsible for county personnel, but beyond that, any of the technology in the center. So they are the CAD administrator, so they're responsible for the computer-aided dispatch system as an entire element. So not only the computer system that's in the 911 center, but if any of the outside agencies, police, fire, EMS, are running mobile data devices, they manage all of that. They manage emergency communications and the bulk of the equipment for that, the radio system, the remote tower sites. Some counties, they're responsible for the first responders' radios as well, but not in counties the size of Franklin. They're responsible for the 911 call handling equipment and managing that, all of the associated contracts and maintenance agreements. They serve as possibly the training director now that Indiana has minimum training requirements for all of the telecommunicators. to become certified as a basic telecommunicator on the first year of hire. They're responsible for, I think it's 24 hours of CEUs every year, so they manage that. The director is responsible for either managing or serving as the IDAX coordinator for IDAX and NCIC, which is a requirement through the IDAX committee and the state police for access to state and national criminal databases. They're responsible for all the record keeping for that as well, and compliance not only for the PSAP, but for any of the outlying agencies that may be using a terminal. And then any ancillary duties that the PSAP has. So in most counties, the PSAP as the terminal agency with IDAX and NCIC, they're doing the monthly validations of missing persons, stolen property, active criminal investigations that the sheriff's department's doing, or the town police department. They're responsible for managing that. So it's really multifaceted, anything to do with 911 call receipt and dispatching and service to the public safety agencies, police, fire, and EMS. And I also have that job description that I can share with you. And I believe commissioners accepted that job description at their meeting.
Yeah, Barry, we all just received copies of the position. Well, council all received for the 911 communications director.
Okay.
So we don't have a exact number that we're requesting, Barry?
Commissioners did not identify an exact number. I think the agreement that we had was to bring it to council for a discussion, for council to be involved in what that salary range would be, and obviously in comparison to what other 911 centers are paying, but also in comparison to what your wage structure looks like in Franklin County for your other county employees. And going back to, excuse me, August of 22, when I first came to Franklin County, the first priority was identifying and hiring a 911 director. In Franklin County, that has fallen under the responsibility of the sheriff, as it's been located in the sheriff's department. So the sheriff has taken responsibility for that. However, the purpose of the feasibility study was to examine removing the 911 center from the control room in the jail and the separation of those duties. And in doing so, the first recommendation was to hire a 911 director. However, Franklin County opted to do the feasibility study first to determine the scope and the potential cost for moving the 911 center to another building. And then, if the decision was made to do that, then the second task order was to look at hiring a 911 director to help facilitate that move. That feasibility study was set aside earlier last year when our attention shifted to the EMS issues and that project. So we spent the last few months working on that. But I did ask commissioners to put this feasibility study back on your radar because there is a number of pieces of equipment in the PSAP that are either at or exceeding end of life and need to be replaced. And those elements were listed in that report. Obviously, the cost has gone up. that your 911 call handling equipment is beyond end of life, and those positions need to be replaced. The aging radio infrastructure for not only the PSAP, but for police, fire, and EMS to be used, it is aging. Those elements need to be replaced. Probably the most two critical pieces of equipment in that PSAP as part of that overall project. But I would, as we're nearing the starting budget season, irregardless of what you do with the director or the location of the PSAP, that public safety infrastructure needs to be considered and prioritized in the 25 budget. And some should probably be accomplished in 24 if money's available. But if not, at least prioritized going into the 25 budget.
So it sounds like we've got about 10 different moving parts right here that, so I don't think we need to act on, I'm not seeing any reason that we have to act on this tonight. My question is, if we're talking about spending $700,000 to renovate the old town hall at Brookville here, or the old waterworks, another $450,000 per year additional cost just to move the 911 center out, plus another $40,000, $50,000 salary, I would feel comfortable taking a pause and putting together a committee to seriously look at this, much like we did with EMS services. Come up with a plan, because if we hire somebody at $60,000, $70,000, or $40,000, $50,000, whatever it is, then we still got a bunch of other moving parts that we still have to decide on. Does that make sense? Am I missing?
Just a background for council. Years ago, we did have a 911 director. And then when Sheriff Murphy was here, that position was gone away for personnel. Sheriff Murphy went ahead and took it over. The county was in bad shape. We couldn't afford it. So it just went through from sheriff to sheriff. You inherited this. So I'm just saying that in years past, we always had a 911 director. So in my eyes, we have saved a lot of money from the sheriffs that have done way beyond what they were supposed to. And now we're at the point that this needs to be put back in place.
I agree, and we have an outside agency that this is what they do. That's what Mr. Ritter's group does. He evaluates, he looks at candidates, and then we hire a candidate. We cannot continue to kick it down the road. Reason being, it's too important a position. It's public safety across the board for everybody. Not just police, fire, EMS, it's across the board. We cannot continue to kick it down the road. In reality, you heard the job description of the director. That's not me. That's not me. And we need to have someone who's totally focused on dispatch, 911. I can't be. I got other places I need to look at. So we need to have that taken care of. And with that is to retain these people we have as dispatchers. Do we get them trained and they go someplace else for more money? So we need to have someone that can keep them vetted here, keep them on board with our department. So I think we need to act on it now rather than later.
But Brian, to your point though, Barry's already done the study. He said that director would be between $50,000 and $60,000. Okay, I guess.
I think that is what he said.
That's what Tom Wilson said. He just threw out a number. They just.
I'm going by this chart that Barry put together in different counties, so if you go with an average, probably 50 or 60 grand, you're going to take a higher professional 911 director that can handle the job.
Okay, so, but to clarify though, what we have on the back, this is from Barry.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. And so that's what he was saying, that we had from a low of 38,000 to a high of 67,000. And so you just threw out a number of 50 to 60,000. Is that,
I think that is, but I think we can have a number that can equate with our size of county, numbers of calls that Barry can come up with as well.
okay.
So is what you're looking for tonight, us to say go ahead and start looking for somebody, is that what we're asking for?
Yeah.
Tonight?
With an idea of having a salary in place or a salary range, rather, yes, have something, a number for you to look at.
You said statewide search, right? Which would include local, if we have a local
Correct.
resource here?
Correct, whoever wants to put in for it.
Okay, all right.
And Sheriff, the salary in the median range would probably suffice, wouldn't it, as far as the counties go?
Say that again now, please.
A salary in the median range of all these directors, would that probably be?
I'll take the guidance of Barry, but I would like to have a director that stays here. If we get him the bottom of the road right here and get him at the end of this pay salary, they'll go someplace else. We need to retain good employees.
What number do you want, Pete?
Well, you mentioned 67,000 last year. Oh, you did though. I remember hearing
That was a
that.
40 and slip. That's-
Say again?
That was a 40 and slip.
I'll use it.
That was,
I'll use it. I'll use it. 55 to 60.
The average of this chart that Barry put together is 56.7.
So that would be a median.
I take that. And again, I have nothing in this. I don't have anything in this. I'll be an advocate for this 911 director because he's going to be sending and working with us.
So let me know where they just going to work out of.
That's the next thing, yes. There's no office, there's no space in the jail. I have asked Amy Lindsay if she can give us a corner over there, and she said she's only too happy to. There's no space here.
So this is, so this is going to turn into $700,000 new 911 center pretty quick, because you got to have a place to put it.
I'd like to get the director first.
And then Barry just said that you have to replace a bunch of equipment, which you might as well just move into a new facility before you start replacing a bunch of stuff, right?
Well, it's end of life, so we can't get it repaired. So yes, we need new equipment, yes. And there is money. Say again?
Either way, you gotta have new equipment.
There is money in the 911 fund. There is money in the 911 fund that is used just for equipment, yes.
So back to your point, I'm not, if you can ask anybody in this room, I'm not one for kicking cans down the road. Okay, I want to do this responsibly. That was my point, is I still think we need to put if we need to hire somebody, it sounds like.
We'll do the same thing like the EMS. We'll have a committee. I'm fine with that. Oh, heavens, yes, yes. I'm not picking somebody. Commissioners are not picking somebody. We'll have Barry do like we did on the other thing. That was a review, have applications come in, do a full interview. Yes, 100%.
Well, I'm not talking for hiring, I'm talking about just the big picture. With everything else, I mean.
Should
Well,
we
if we
have a
were-
special meeting with Reedy to figure out like the whole picture, like where we're going to put the new 911 director and future plans, like where we're going to get the money at?
That's up to council here.
Because that's a,
The biggest issue, we need to think about a 911 director, because I am no longer that person.
So what
I
he's,
think
go ahead.
the other thing to keep in mind is that, and I know you had a director in the past, in today's environment in Franklin County, that 911 director, first and foremost, is going to have to be a trained telecommunicator because they're going to have to work a console. They're going to have to take 911 calls and supplant staff because there's not a 911 center operating that can boast that they're at full staff or they have enough staffing for full coverage. And So while you're talking about where do we put them, while they're going to have some administrative responsibilities, keep in mind they're going to spend time in that PSAP working as a telecommunicator as well.
We have two dispatch dispatch consoles there with a third computer there. So there's a third place there. Y'all been inside there. It's not that big, and there's no room for anything else there.
I think the first step that we have to take as a county for taking care of this problem is to hire a 911 director. To let him or her be on in our county when the transfer is made from there to there, or wherever it is. I think the first step is what you guys are asking for tonight.
I agree.
So I'd like to make a motion that we start the process to hire a 911 director immediately.
Bob Evans has made a motion to go ahead and look for a 911 director. Do you want to add a salary onto that? I'm just asking.
Yeah, we can add a salary. Did I hear this? Is that the average?
Okay, the average was 56,700
Correct.
of all of those on that page.
Yep.
So,
Okay.
yeah, just for your information. Yep.
Well, we can shoot for 50. You said 50 to 60 to start with, right?
I
No?
would think that would give Barry Ritter more flexibility with people that he chooses.
Okay. I'll leave it at 50 to 60,000, 60 max.
Okay, so to complete Bob Evans's motion is to go ahead and look for a 911 director at the salary of $50,000. Okay, do I have a second?
Starting at 50, to
Starting
60,
at 50
to possible 60.
to possibly 60. Carol Lanning seconds.
Now, I got questions. So, you're gonna hire him immediately?
Gonna start looking, immediately.
Well, I know you look. You gonna set a time date where we have that person? I mean, you gotta give him 1 month, 2 months, how long's Pete gonna be around? Take care of this yet? You can, right?
We don't know how long it will take.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We gotta have somebody to take your place.
I'm already gone. I'll just tell you that, I'm already gone.
Who's doing the job now?
My supervisor over at 911, at the dispatch.
That's what I'm saying. We gotta do something. We gotta do something. That's not.
I'm sure Barry will start pretty quick, you know.
Yeah, Mr. Ritter will start that process, putting that out there, and we'll go with the process with how Barry wants to do that. Again, because we're not going to put anyone in there. This is your position. We're going to go through a full vetting process. Yes, sir.
So what's Barry think about that salary of 50,000? You know?
Barry, are you still there?
Yes, but I could not hear.
Okay. We have just a question. What do you think of a salary of $50,000 to $60,000? Is that doable?
I think for a PSAP the size of Franklin County, you would get qualified applicants from within the state, potentially. I don't know that we would attract out-of-state candidates at that salary. Now there's a county west of you, over in the center of the state, it's a busier center, it's a 4-position, more employees. They set that one at like 84,000, and I'm not saying that's where you need to be at all. And we believe that we'll attract some out-of-state candidates for that. What I'll tell you is that the pool of available candidates is less than what it was before COVID. We've seen an exodus of management and telecommunicators in PSAPs, and those positions are hard to fill. I think it's a fair place to start. And if you do that 50 to 60, depending on qualifications, and we end up with, just a candidate that the committee believes, hey, we really need this person, and that person says, well, it's going to take 62, then I think we come back to council and commissioners and say it's going to take 62 to get this person. So I think there has to be that limited flexibility for the committee to work within.
Okay, thank you. So there's a motion on the floor. It's been presented and seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Council.
I do have a question, Pete. How much is your supervisor making?
I want to say 40,000. What's that?
38,480 plus overtime.
Is that fair to them to have that responsibility right now?
He's been doing it for 5 years.
Is that an all in favor?
Yeah. Next, we'll move on to the additional appropriations, resolution 2024-10, where it has been determined it is now necessary to appropriate more money than was originally appropriated in the annual budget. Now, therefore, Section 1, be it ordained by County Council of Franklin County that for the expenses of the taxing unit, the following additional sums of money are hereby appropriated out of the funds named and for the purposes specified, subject to laws governing the same. General supplies, $1,000. Other services and charges, $10,000. For a total for general fund, $11,000. Elected official training, other services and charges, $1,550. For a total out of elected official training, $1,550. Fund name highway edit, capital outlays, $141,668. For a total for fund name highway edit, $141,668. Dated this 19th day of March, 2024. Any questions?
Is the legal services for your office?
No?
No. I was
Did
just,
you read this is for county council? It's what you guys did at the
oh,
last
county
meeting.
department, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Any questions? The floor is open for a motion to approve.
I'll approve orders 2024-10. Additional appropriation.
Carol Lanning has made a motion to approve ordinance 2024-10. Do I have a second?
I'll second, Chair.
Dean McQueen, seconds. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Next is a reduction resolution, ordinance 2024-12, where it has been determined it is now necessary to reduce money that was appropriated in the annual budget. Now, therefore, Section 1, be it ordained by County Council of Franklin County that for the expenses of the taxing unit, the following additional sums of money are hereby reduced out of the funds named and for the purposes specified, subject to laws governing the same. County General, other services and charges, $10,000, for a total for fund name County General, $10,000. Dated this 19th day of March, 2024. Any questions? Floor is open for a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve 2024-12.
Bob Evans has made a motion to approve Resolution 2024-12. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mary Strong seconds. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Next is Salary Ordinance Amendment Number 2. Amendment to the 2024 Salary Ordinance 2023-19. Be it ordained that on this 19th day of March 2024, the Franklin County Council amended the 2024 Salary Ordinance with the following corrections retroactive to March 3rd, 2024. Highway Superintendent salary exempt 40 hours per week, $2,769.23 biweekly. Newly created Highway Superintendent position will replace Highway Engineer position.
Motion approved.
Glenn Bischoff made a motion to approve Salary Ordinance 2023-19 amendment. Do I have a second?
Second.
Bob Evans seconds. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next is the Transfer of Funds Certificate 2024-13. The Franklin County Council hereby certifies the following action in regard to transferring from one major budget classification to another, Public Law 24 SB, effective April 14th, 1971, was done at a meeting on March 19th, 2024. From Highway Edit, Highway Engineer, $56,000, to Highway Edit, Highway Superintendent, $56,000. And that such transfers do not necessitate expenditure of more money than was set out in detail in the budget as finally approved by the State Department of Local Government Finance. The transfer was made at a regular public meeting to the proper resolution, a copy of which is attached to this certificate dated this 19th day of March 2024. Any questions? Floor is open for a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the transfer of funds certificate number 2024-13.
Dean McQueen has made a motion to approve Resolution 2024-13. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mary Strong seconds. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next is the approval of the Reedy invoice 10549 in the amount of $5,009.99. 90 cents. Floor is open for a motion to approve.
Make the motion to approve invoice for Reedy.
Bob Evans has made a motion to approve invoice 10549. Do I have a second?
Second.
Glenn Bischoff seconds. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Is there anything else to come before council?
Do we need a motion for a committee on the 911 center and a plan? Or do we just take it as it comes?
It's whatever council, I guess, wants to
What'd you
do.
say, Mary?
Are we going to make a motion for a committee for the 911 center and for the 911 director and all that's coming? Or are we just going to take it as it comes before us?
Do you mean like interview a person for the 911 director, or
No.
you're talking about the moving from
Yeah,
the current?
if we have plans on doing that, how are we going to do it and make it happen?
Mhm.
I like the idea of a committee, but I like the idea of having the director in place first. Or at least have it in the works.
So he would be part of it, like the director, Reedy,
Would be-
somebody
would be part
on
of it.
council to
Yeah.
get together and figure out what we are.
Yes. I like that idea. At the right time. Yeah.
So,
Maybe this
So-
is it. I don't know if this is it or not.
yeah, I mean, it's whatever council wants to do.
How long do we have to stay in the jail when we're at,
That's why
reasonable time? Anybody got any ideas?
Until Pete's out of office.
So,
How soon you gonna run us out of that building?
Derek, yeah.
Until you guys decide. Until you guys decide. They're welcome there as long as possible. But you've heard, I gave you, I think last year, the study he did. He did say end of life on a lot of that equipment. So whatever you think, bottom line is if equipment goes down, equipment goes down. It can no longer be supported by what we've got. So
Is the plan to buy new equipment before we move out of there?
the plan is to buy new equipment. Where you put it is where we put it. That's the thing. We don't want to put it there and then have to move it to some other location.
That's what I said.
It'd be nice to get the city to move out. But it is what it is. But that moving out, it'll take your input on where we do that. I didn't answer your question. I know, I didn't answer your question.
But what his point is that the equipment is getting old, and if it would be better off if we move, if we're going to put new equipment. It's not if we're going to put new equipment. We are going to put. It would be better to put it in a new spot.
Correct.
Than piecemeal it in the old system, knowing we're going to have to move it.
Correct. It'd be a double expense there
It would be
and
a double
someplace else.
expense.
It'd be a double expense. Right.
Right.
So,
So we need to get with Reedy to figure out, because that's going to take a lot of money to do that.
Well, yeah, yes, we can get with Reedy and find out what our options are. So absolutely, yes.
Correct.
well, take it out of your budget. Since you know.
Jim, I would envision your first committee for the hiring to be much like we did for EMS, a council member, a commissioner, the sheriff. For this director's job, probably the director of DMA to be involved in interviewing and making recommendations to the commissioner for hiring. And then a light committee, and it may be the same one for this facility project. And because a new director coming in, should they come from the outside, they're going to be learning to be a department head in Franklin County, running the center, and they're going to need help in strategic planning for the center. I'm under contract to help you do that, but I think stakeholder buy-in is extremely important with the scope of this project.
I would probably add somebody from fire in it as well, since they play a big part in dispatch as well. So they get to have somebody on that as well. That's just my 2 cents there. Thank you.
So we just need
Whatever council wants to do, I mean, what?
So he said that a council person on the committee that's going on now, right? Did I hear that right?
Well, what he's saying is a person from council, one of the commissioners, the sheriff, the new 911 director, someone from the new ambulance service, to get all different perspectives to look at it. So,
yeah, I'd like to make a motion to put a committee together for the 911.
okay.
You want somebody on there with you?
You want to be part of the committee, right?
Not that I want to be, I know that we have to have some kind of plan instead of just nothing.
Should we have two on that?
So I don't know. I would say probably one, because all the other entities will have one.
Well,
So-
we're a board of seven, so I would suggest that we have 2 council members, and I think I would gladly volunteer for that. Because, and whoever, that will be obviously somebody.
Okay, so, well, let's just, we'll jump. So we'll have two members from council. So what we're saying, is that what council wants?
Well, since
Or just one?
We're gonna have to come up with money, I think it might not be a bad idea.
Okay, so two people from council. Okay, and we're saying one from the commissioner's office.
Can't have 2 of them.
I understand, but we have to have one at least, right? Got it. All right, one commissioner. And the sheriff. Okay. And then one that, well, if the 911 director. And then,
Is that group going to be part of hiring the 911?
no, this was just on moving
Right.
from the current place.
I thought Barry said that group would just move right into what Barry said.
Are you just come up with a
Whoever
list
the
of,
director is will be on board.
just making a list of suggestions to send to us for approval for that committee?
Yes.
I mean, we would set up that committee, right? And
The commissioners would set that committee up?
I think we
Perfect.
would definitely take your suggestions.
Okay, our suggestions is 2 people from council. Run with it. Okay, perfect. All right. Yes.
The leftover appropriation highway edit, what are you going to do with it?
I guess elaborate on what you're talking about.
So I apparently know more than the budget, because you did an additional for 141,000. There's salary for 72, and there was 104,000 in that line. So that means that there's still 48,000 in that line.
Talking about in Larry's line, or the highway superintendent line,
Yes.
because you used it.
I don't know what. I'm assuming it's like anything else. If we don't spend it, it stays in its line.
So you're going to give them whatever they can use it for anything, transfer it,
Who's they?
the highway, sitting in their line.
Think they can just use it then?
I mean, it's in the budget, they can transfer it.
I guess I'm not understanding your question.
In the highway edit, in the superintendent line, or in the county engineer line, there was 104,877 that was budgeted in there. You set up a salary for the new superintendent for 72,000, but you transferred out 56,000 today,
Yeah.
which would leave 48,877 in that line.
Then it will stay there until, if it gets appropriated.
It's already appropriated.
Okay. Well, then your question is,
What are you going to do with it? Are you just going to leave that open for them to do whatever they transfer it for anything they want?
I guess I don't see it as any different than any other monies that are in any other line. If they come before council on additional or transfer, this would be more of a transfer.
Okay.
Council looks at it and denies it or approves it.
Okay. So you're
If it's
they
not
can
spent,
transfer?
but if it's not spent, then it goes back.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, because they added 141,000, so I just didn't know why you didn't transfer it over. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, anything else to come before council? The floor is open for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Bob Evans has made a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mary Strong seconds. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Meeting adjourned.